Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our lemonade shaker card. Now we've never done one of these before. They're quite simple actually, and just follow along with me and you'll be a-okay. We're going to begin by actually doing a little bit of pre-prep on some of the little elements that we're going to include in the shaker card. Okay, so I'm going to start off by just putting together some little ice cubes. Okay, so you can see here, we just need to match up the two shapes. Make sure you have the one with the right size, because there's a total of 3 ice cubes and they all vary in shape and size. So just make sure you're grabbing the right one. And of course, I think you always should, but if you have the supplies, definitely take some time and do a little bit of inking. Okay, so there's one little ice cube. We'll grab the next one. Just make sure you rotate it until it fits on there correctly. So yeah, it's something new. The only thing you're really going to need, which many of you already have in your stashes, I'm sure, is a little bit of foam tape. Why can't I get this to match up now? There it is. Okay, here we go. 2 ice cubes, 1 more to go. And we'll just kind of do this systematically and take it one step at a time. Everything in this bundle is all stuff that I try to stay away from as much as possible. Boy, do the kids love it. But either way, I was at where was I? Home Goods the other day, and it seems like lemons are really, well, obviously they're kind of the staple of summer, so to speak. Okay, we have a little lemon here that we're going to assemble. So I just took that circle and I did hit it with a little bit of ink, and you wouldn't think using like a yellowish orange ink would be appropriate, but obviously yellow on yellow doesn't really show up very well. And like an email I had earlier this week, someone asked if I would put the colors that I use when I ink in a supply list. And I've thought about doing that in the past, but the problem with that is not everybody uses the same color paper that I use, which means that your inking is going to be a little bit different. So we got a couple more little lemon wedges here, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting the correct size top for it. These 2 small ones are the exact same size, and these 2 medium ones are pretty much the exact same size. So that's going to go there, that's going to go there, that is going to go there, and that's going to go there. Okay, with these little pieces here, just use the nozzle of your glue bottle to add some little dots, and then once you have the dots in place, just kind of dab that with your finger to thin it out. And you want the white part to be flush with the straight edge. Okay, just like that. And that looks really pretty, especially with the inking. Which is why I always recommend just taking the plunge, biting the bullet, whatever you want to call it, and just get your fingers dirty and definitely learn to ink. Now, I'm not a master inker, if that's even a word, by any means. I know there's a lot of different inking techniques that people use. I tend to just try to kind of highlight and accent the cardstock pretty minimally. We don't get too crazy working with like watercolor effects and all that crazy stuff that's out there. But I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. I see a lot of that in card making where it's kind of like the focus of the card is all that work that's being done. And when we're making cards here, we have a lot of different elements that we're already working with that are primarily the focus of the end result. So we try not to take away from it, so to speak. Okay. All right, so we've got those all done. We've got one large one. This one's actually going to go on the envelope, but let's just get that one out of the way. If you've done any other projects from this set with me, you'll notice that it's one thing that I've been doing a lot of lately, is just kind of working systematically and going down the row and eliminating little pieces, getting things kind of all situated and put together before the so-called big reveal. Okay, all right. These two guys here, we're not really going to do anything with those. And then these two guys here are just little elements that are going to go inside of the shaker. We have a cute little caption. It's "Squeeze the Day," kind of like "Seize the Day." And it's pretty delicate, so be very careful with it. What I would do is just find nice thick areas and put some dots of glue throughout. You don't need to cover every single inch of it. And then whatever is still kind of loose, you can always go in and kind of clean it up. Now this is going on a white shadow layer, so if we do get a little bit of spill as far as the glue goes, you can always go in and actually I'm not going to be able to fix it, but it won't be as visible. But very gently pop that into place. Make sure you get that as centered as you can. Now, because it's kind of a script, it does have a tendency to kind of move a little bit. It's almost as if, even though everything's joined, it's almost like it isn't. But I got that on there really nicely. Okay, so that's good. Now, there's some things that we need to do here. Okay, so we have some cutouts. Let's go over here real quick. Let's go to the card base real quick. Okay, when we open up the card base, what we're going to do is there's 4 pieces for the straw. Okay, and 2 of these, I believe, are identical. Let me see here. Yeah, these are identical. Okay, and that's going to go right here. That's so that when you open it up, you still see the same straw. Okay, so this long piece is going to go right here, just like that. And then there's these 2 shorter pieces, but this one is going to go right here. This is the shorter of the 2 shorter pieces. So let's get that installed or glued down right there. Make sure it's nice and aligned, just like that. And then we have this little area here. This little thing is where you're going to write your little message, do your stamping, have your machine do the writing, whatever it may be. So let's just get that glued into place. Can do that now. And there's little markers on the top left and the top right to help you with the positioning of that. Okay, so that's the inside of the card. And now we're going to put on the solid yellow part of this. Okay, we're going to put the other part of the straw on this. So you're going to have a pattern piece out of whatever color, and then you're going to have a solid piece that goes behind it, preferably something that kind of highlights that pattern. And whatever that solid piece is, that's where this is going. That's where this little straw pattern is going. Okay, so this one's actually going to go, this one's going to extend down a little bit, like so. That's so that when we hit this layer, it matches up right there. Okay, so that's going to go right there. Okay, so what we can actually do here is we can take this layer and we're going to glue it onto the solid layer. Okay, let's just get that going here. There's also a pretty pattern on the back, but we're going with the polka dots. Okay, so get that on there. We're going to connect these 2 layers together, and they're identical, minus the straw, obviously. So pop that into place, just like that, press it down. Okay, the back of this is where we're going to glue one layer of our acetate so we can see through it, and also to, so our little shaker elements don't go flying all over the place. So I'm just going to do a nice little line here. We'll do a little bit there, and then kind of fill it in down here as well. That's just for good measure, so it doesn't go flying all over the place. And make sure you cover up the cutout completely. Okay, just press that down gently, give that a chance to set. And while it's setting, we're going to flip this over and we can start gluing down some of our elements here. Okay, one of the first elements that we're going to glue down here is this ice cube. And I need to make sure that, yep, this one's going to go right here. This is the largest of the 3 ice cubes. Okay, that one's just going to get glued down flat right there. So go nice and easy with the glue here, and use the little markers to guide you. I obviously goofed that up. Here we go. So there's number 1. Okay. See how that acetate is doing well. Okay. Next, we're going to take and let me see here. We've got 2 of these. I'm going to see if they're the same size. I think they are. Yeah, they're exactly the same size. Okay, a little mint leaf. And one of them is going to go right here. You can see the little markers for the tips. There's the tip, and then there's 2 of the other sections of the leaf, the pointy parts. So just go with a little bit of glue here. Just small little dots. And just line that up, match it up, press it down. There we go. Got one more that's going to go right here. Let's get that glued down. Just little dots. Don't need a lot. And line that up using the little markers there. Okay. Okay, up here at the top, I'm going to take one of our lemon wedges, and you can either glue that down, or if you want, you can pop dot it or use some foam squares. I'm actually going to glue that down flat. Okay, there we go. Got another little ice cube here. It's the second largest ice cube, and it's going to go just like, I think it goes like this. Let's see. There we go, like that. Nope. Just spin it around until, there we go. Goes like that. Okay. So I'll try to remember that. There we go. All right. Okay. Also have a full-size piece of lemon that's going to go right there. Okay, and I think that's going to conclude all of the stuff that gets glued down. The rest of these elements are going to be little shaker elements, and of course, as I mentioned, this is for the envelope, so we'll save that for later. This one here, I'm going to use some foam squares on, and we're going to add some dimension to this piece here. You'll notice that there's 4 little markers here to help you with the centering of this little guy. Okay, so that is in place. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take and glue this to the card base, like so. Okay, so we need to flip this around and apply our glue to the entire part of the cardstock. And I would focus on the cardstock here. We'll also add a little bit of glue around the acetate portion because it will stick, but the perimeter is probably the most important. Okay, there we go. And I can open this up. I think that would make it easier on us. There we go. Line that up and match it up, press it down. There we go. Just keep holding that. Again, we've got There's a little bit of acetate there that we have to join it to. But again, the perimeter is going to be doing most of the legwork here. Okay, and as you can see, that hides the acetate. And that's going to prevent it from preventing all our little shaker elements from going flying all over the place. Okay, so now we're going to build the top section of this. Okay, let's take one. We have 3 white layers. Okay, we're going to put one of the white layers down onto the yellow. Okay, and this is also going to help us figure out exactly where we need to put our foam. And we'll build our top layer and just pop that right into place to close it up once we get all of our little elements in there. Okay, so line that up as accurately as you can. Use your fingers to kind of run it along the perimeter to feel it. So you can feel that it's lined up correctly. There we go, press that down into place. So far so good. The card looks cute, stands up nicely. Okay, so let's build our top layer now. Okay, so our top layer, what we're going to do is take and glue our acetate to one of these layers. So pick one of the white layers and let's begin applying glue around the inside of the perimeter here. You can do a nice thin line, that's fine. Thin it out just a little bit. And grab your acetate. And make sure when you, I'm going to hold it up so I can see it a little bit better. Just pop that right into place. Make sure that you're covering up the entire cutout area, not leaving any gaps. Okay, press that down nice and easy. Oops. Got a little bit of glue on there. That's okay. You can rub that off. You can always clean that off too. Okay, give that a few seconds to set. And in the meantime, we'll leave that alone for a moment, let it set and cure. And this is going to go on top of this layer, like that. But on top of this, we're going to add this piece. So let's get that glued down. Okay, just glue that right on there. You can see the little shadow element where it's going to go. Press that down. Okay, then we have this piece here, and this is going to get glued right here at the top. So apply your glue and pop that in place. Now there's quite a bit of little hole cutouts here. Okay, so don't worry about trying to get glue in between each of these little cutouts here. It'll be near impossible. And then finally, this little guy, it's going to go right here in between those two little areas there. So you have a little bit of that gray still showing at the bottom and between this piece and the piece above it. So just go easy on the glue here. You don't need a lot. And line that up. There we go. I like to flip that over, push from the other side so I don't blemish the silver foil. Okay, so now we're going to connect these two sections together so that the one layer has the acetate on it. And I'm going to flip this over and apply glue to this piece. That way I don't accidentally get glue on the acetate as I'm applying. And if you have too much towards the inside, maybe just dab that with your finger so we don't accidentally get some of that glue spilling onto the acetate. Okay, just line that up as accurately as you can, top and bottom, side to side. Okay, there we go. That looks good. Okay, so these are the two sections now that we're going to apply our foam tape to create the little gap. I'm going to put this underneath my mat so that it dries flat. Okay. All right, so let's take this now and let's grab your foam tape We're going to do 2 layers actually. Okay, now keep in mind that this entire white section and this section up here will be hidden. So what you want to do is begin just kind of creating a little border inside of this little area here. Okay, and you can grab your scissors and just cut that wherever you need to. And this here, because we have a little bit of a curve going on, we may need to cut. And by the way, if your tape isn't the newest and you're concerned about it staying in place, you can add a little bit of glue to the bottom of this. Okay, and that way you don't have to worry about it pulling apart, because I know that can be a concern. Now this angle here, where it really angles, I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to cut it a little more. Just bring that in slightly. Like that. And we'll join that from here. Just want to create like a wall, basically, so that our little elements don't go flying around. Now, one other thing too, and maybe we'll have to add a link somewhere or mention it on the website. There's a product, and I don't know offhand who the manufacturer is, but basically it's just a little powder that some people take, and with a little brush, they apply it to the side of the foam tape so that all these little elements that we're going to put in here don't get stuck to the inside. Okay, see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's so sticky that it kind of gets stuck to the inside. All right, so there's our first layer. We're going to actually double this up and make it 2 layers of foam tape. Okay, which means that you need to peel this off and begin applying our next layer. And then we'll just fill it in with whatever little shaker elements we want to put in there and close it up. We're going to seal it. Okay, so moving right along here with my second layer. Want it to, I guess you could probably get away with just doing 1 layer, but we want this, want the shaker elements to be able to move around freely. And again, you know, you may have some tape that's actually thicker than mine, and you may not need 2 layers. So it's up to you how you want to proceed with that. Okay, but again, just try to make sure that it's nice and sealed, so those little elements don't go flying around and escaping the card. If you have that powder that I'm talking about, I know many of you have made shaker cards before, and if you have that little powder, by all means, go ahead and apply it so that your stuff doesn't get stuck to the side of our foam. Okay, there we go. And we can peel this off. And getting ready to finish this off now by applying that top layer. Now before we do that, again, now's the time to add your little elements. Okay, I think that will do. You can put in as many or as few as you want. I feel like there's already so much in there. And once you put it in, it's going to be hard to get it out. But I guess it's okay. That's fine. I'm not going to put these 2 in. And then, of course, you've got, you can get a bunch of little things. Just have fun, fill it up so that when you shake it, it actually shakes, you know? Whoa. That stuff's going all over the place. Okay, let's get something with a little more color. Okay, so add whatever little things you want to add. I've got 2 additional little lemon wedges and some mint. And then from underneath the depths, I have my top layer now, which glued or dried nice and flat. And oops, Careful there. And just make sure that you close this up and line it up as accurately as you can on top of that other layer. There we go. Not quite. Almost. There we go. All right, give that a final little press there just to make sure that everything is sealed nicely. And there you go. And nothing's coming out, which means we did a good job. Okay. Now I may take and hit this white part with a little bit of ink, but as you can see here, it stands up nicely. And then finally, we have a cute little caption we're going to put right here, and I'm going to actually use some foam squares on this. Okay, so go ahead and apply some foam squares. Let's start with the larger areas, and then chances are, because it's a small little caption, you can just take and cut some of these to make them a little bit smaller so they fit onto these smaller little areas. And that will finish this one off, minus the envelope, obviously. Still have to do that. I'm going to put one right on the S as well. Let's get that in place. Okay. There we go. And we'll flip that around. And that's going to go roughly just above the little, between the two lemons, I'd say, is appropriate. Make sure you get it nice and centered. There we go. And we got ourselves a shaker card. Okay. Again, these two additional ones, you can put those in there if you want. I think we got enough in there. Okay, so there it is. Beautiful. And let's finish it up with our envelope, which we have here. Okay, so we're going to take these two side flaps, bring them in, and just apply your glue to the inside part here of each of the flaps. There's one, there's two. Bring up the top flap, or the bottom flap, I should say. Close that up. Okay. And we don't have usually we have like an extra little piece that goes underneath it, but we don't. But in this case, we have this pretty little lemon. It's going to go right there. We're just going to glue that down right onto that little cutout there. Okay. And just make sure that it's nice and aligned and that it's straight. There we go. Okay, squeeze the day, ready to go. Shaky, shaky, stands up beautifully. And of course, the final little test, we make sure it fits in our envelope, and it does. So that's gonna do it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's the first shaker card I think we've ever made on the website, so very cool. Turned out really nice. Super cute card. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please take a moment, visit us on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our latest bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 40,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So again, had a blast, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.